Welcome to a video from thislifestyle.com. This is a new collection for the Korg 2600, part of the Korg collection, the ARP 2600. This is the plugin that you can use with all the major doors, and I've got my Volume 2 sound set available for it. Volume 1 already available at thislifestyle.com. And if you want to know more about the 2600, I've got a full hands-on review and an interview with Korg's R&D head Dan Phillips talking about that as well, so head on to over to our YouTube channel to find out more. So in this video I'm just going to demonstrate these 37 performances. I'll quickly demonstrate these 37 performances and just explain some of the way that I've created these sounds as well, so if you've got one of these you can have a go at creating your own. So I'll just whiz through them in alphabetical order, and the first one we've got here is called Fifth Fade. So this one is called Fifth Fade, and this is actually a poly one, and what I've got here is so that fifth coming in after the initial press on a separate envelope. Not unlike the soundtrack type sounds that Roland have. The way I did that is, and there's many ways you could achieve this, I've got a second envelope, the auxiliary envelope, driving a second filter. So this is tuned to a fifth, and then it goes through this separate envelope, which has got this separate filter driven by a separate envelope, then going back into the audio stream, back into the filter. So you can achieve that effect. This one, someone asked me if I could recreate this one, this destructive feedback, so here we go. And this one is routing the amplifier back into the input gain, and the gain turned up, and then the output of the preamp into the mixer as well, so it gives it that real drive on there. This one's called Dual Filters. So when you hear the note, you can hear that second filter kick in. Pretty simple, a bit like the other patch. We've got the separate envelope generator driving the separate filter, and the sawtooth, and it goes back into the mixer there. Some ensemble strings, because there is a Poly6 ensemble built into the effects section. So a nice simple string sound going through the Poly6 using the three sawtooth from the oscillators. It's Welcome to the Machine type sound from Pink Floyd. Using three sawtooths and a bit of vibrato. The next one is another Pink Floyd type one, the On the Run sequence. It's not an exact copy of it, but it's quite close. And you can use the mod control to alter the speed of the LFO. That's from Dark Side of the Moon, by the way. Oh, we've got a PWM Lead. Nice and simple, and a PWM Lead, but with a bit of phasing. Some resonant strings. and some ring modulated strings. And this one is a ring lead. And we've got a screaming lead. So this one's called Search of Humans. Nice resonant sound there. And you can use poly aftertouch to control a bit of vibrato, or you can use the mod wheel. We've got a few sequences, so we've got a sequence bass. The key controls the pitch. A few different tricks to using this, using an additional envelope for the filter. I'm using the ring modulator as a voltage processor, combining the output of this filter with the output from the VCA, so that it's got some gate on it. If I didn't have this, you would hear it all the time, even with the key off. So, high-pass strings going through a sequencer. I'm using the sequencer to control the filter. And another variation on that one. So this one's using the sequencer to trigger this auxiliary envelope, which is triggering the filter and the gate there as well. Another sequence one, this is a sequence pad. Similar thing again, we're using the sequencer to trigger this auxiliary envelope, which I'm using the ring mod as a voltage processor to also gate the output as well. A couple of Pink Floyd ones. We've got a Shine On lead, and this is the bit from part 6 to 9. A nice soft sort of brass lead, and then the shrill part from later on in Shine On. So we've got some portamento, we've got vibrato onto the oscillators, and that's sort of getting that effect. And if you want the sound effect, they've got the wind sound as well. And we're using the sequencer lanes and sequencer steps to control those levels with quite a slow transition between steps, and it's controlling the filter there. And that's stab brass. And Dan Phillips from Korg showed me this technique. So we've got two pan outputs there that you can use. So I'm using this technique here to do a bit of auto panning. So you can hear it panning between the two. So I'm taking the output of the VCA, putting it into this voltage processor. So that's, and then going to the left output. Then I'm also taking the output of the VCA into this other processor and using the inverse of it and setting that to B. So that's to the right. So that's why you hear it going left, right, and it's controlled by the speed there. And I've set that control through the mob wheel as well. And poly aftertouch as well. So it's quite a nice technique that that Dan showed me there. I created a pad version of that. And an interesting effect that the LFO is individually controlling the panning on the individual notes. If you set it to sync or free, all the notes end up in the same pan position. If you set it to individual, each note has its own panning. So you get more of a random panning effect, which I prefer. Summer Madness, named after the track. Summer Madness, named after the track, which used the 2600. And it's a nice lead sound in itself. There's a nice portamento on there. A couple of syncs. A great sync effect that you get syncing that oscillator, and I created a variation of that, a dual version of it, which is the same principle, but the you can hear that second come in, that second sync, because I'm also syncing the other oscillator 3, but I'm using a bit of lag processing on that to make it come in slightly after. So this is similar, a patch sync lead double, but this is using two syncs. So you can hear that other one kicking in there. That's because I've just put the sync of oscillator 3. I've switched that on, and I'm pitch adjusting that through the auxiliary envelope, whereas this oscillator is going pitch adjusted through the other envelope. So you've got two envelopes controlling pitch. And a synced pad. Bit more subtle on this one, but you can hear it. And it's being done by the bit of vibrato on there. It almost sounds FM-y strings, doesn't it? This is something similar to the synth sound on Welcome Machine. It's not exactly the same, but here I'm using the electronic switch to pan left and right. So the switch is controlled by the tempo, and so that's A goes to the left and the right. This one reminds me of a sort of Jan Hammer sequence, so I call it Vice Chase Bass. Using the sequencer and a little bit of modulation on there too. So I'm using the sequencer to control the pitch and the modulation on oscillator too. This one is a warm pulse width modulation lead. Using delayed vibrato on the filter. Pulse width modulation is controlled by the UGS LFO. And it's similar to a nice warm square lead. And we've got some warm strings. Nice warm string sound there. And the final one is a whistle. With some delayed vibrato on there. So that's my 2600 collection volume 2. We've got 37 there that you can choose from. Also available is volume 1. I've got 40 in volume 1 as well. So you can download all these from digitallifestyle.com. So you've got 77 2600 patches to play with. I hope the video helps with explaining some of it as well, how I've created them. If you've got any suggestions on 2600 patches, let me know. If there's anything you want me to do, or if you've got any tips that I'm missing a trick on, I'm sure there are plenty because it's relatively new to me. Please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe. It always helps, and I'm trying to get those subscription numbers up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.